Hi teachers, welcome to Unit 1, Week 5, Day 3 of the Middle School ENL Standalone curriculum. Today's video will cover the continuation of working on the Building Together portfolio and covers the following lesson objectives: to prepare for and participate in a range of collaborations with diverse partners, and to gather information from multiple sources, assessing the relevance and integrating the information into writing. So, in the previous lesson, students worked on some peer editing work and received some peer feedback and comments, so really honing in on the revision process. So they will start by reviewing what they did in the previous lesson, telling who their partner was, what suggestion their partner made to add to their writing, and how the student plans to use their partner's feedback to improve their writing. So what students will do today is make final revisions to their writing using the editing checklist, the suggestions made by their partners, and comments made by the teacher. And they should be prepared to present their work during the next class. So the idea here, so looking at the set the purpose, students should be celebrating the idea of sharing their work. So make sure that as you present this lesson and as you continue work on this project with your students, that students know that this should be a fun process, a celebratory process. So definitely keep that energy, that pride up, that students sharing their voices is always a crucial factor, a crucial part of this process that they should be really proud of. So the workshopping part of the lesson is finding the first draft and comparing it to the final draft of their writing. So they make those final edits, they compare the first draft to the final, and then they look at that final draft and find any new academic vocabulary or new words and phrases. So new academic vocabulary they learned from this unit, and new words and phrases they learned from another classmate. The lesson closes off with specifically the extend the learning, which will be picked up in the next day of the lesson, as well as the connect to the prompt. But if you'd like to do the check for understanding or the discussion question, you can add those in as well. I'm going to move back to slide 3 and take a look at this little bubble right here, which is the companion document to this lesson, which you may recognize from 5.1 and 5.2. But I'm going to click over there now. So moving on to 5.3, so we see the review at the beginning. Once again, if you feel that your students do not need the sentence frames as scaffolds, you can take them away to scaffold up. For the final edits, there are bookmarks in this document. So if they click on this edited project text up here, the green box from 5.1, it will take them to that green box from 5.1. So they can copy and paste their work and then scroll, so they can copy their work up from that green box and then scroll back down to 5.3, paste it in the purple box. So same thing down here for the workshop. So the purple box should then have their final draft, their completed draft using these directions. Then they will find their first draft, so the blue box from 5.1. This is also a bookmark, so I can click on this. It will take me up to that blue box in 5.1. Students can copy this, scroll down, and paste in that blue box in 5.3. Then they can compare this purple box with this blue box, so comparing the final draft with the initial draft, and identify one change they made by self-editing and one change based on feedback. And then they will look at the final draft of the writing, identify any new academic vocabulary, and identify any new words and phrases they may have learned from another classmate. To close off the lesson, so those two from the extend the learning and the connect to the text are both here. So thinking about the essential question, how can we build a stronger community together? And they should use evidence from their writing to answer that question, so there's space for them to write that right here. And then finally, that second part is to read the final draft of their writing out loud and maybe even try it in front of their families. If you would like to also maybe have students practice using Flipgrid, or if you're in a virtual classroom and you would like Flipgrid to be the final way that they present, that's also another option for them to still be able to read, still be able to present, but to have it be more accessible in a remote setting. All right, so that is lesson 5.3. So finishing off the editing process, getting students ready to present, to celebrate their work, to celebrate their progress. And best of luck with your students, and we'll see you for the next lesson.